All right, big day for the 49ers. Let's take a look at a cable car with a Giants logo on it across from the Buena Vista Cafe. This is the first 11-on-11 practice that the 49ers will conduct for this 2025 season. One of the series of few 11-on-11 practices that they'll conduct over the course of this spring before leaving for the summer and then reconvening for training camp. So you saw the 49ers make a flurry of moves over the course of Wednesday to set the table for the first OTA practice on Thursday. OTA stands for Organized Team Activities, OTAs, and this is phase 3 of the 49ers offseason program. It started this week, and the first 11-on-11 practice open to the media is today. So the 49ers, the final move, and was one of the headlining moves of the past couple of weeks, was the release of Mitch Wishnowsky, the punter whom the 49ers drafted in the 4th round back in 2019. They replaced him with Thomas Morstead, 39-year-old who used to be with Brant Boyer and Robert Saleh with the New York Jets. Climb up Hyde Street. I find it symbolic, Hyde Street, because the 49ers are beginning the long climb, which they hope is going to end in the Super Bowl. I think today is a very important date as far as you look at the entire journey. That first 11-on-11 practice is definitely a milestone for the 49ers. So Morstead aboard, Wishnowsky with the knee and the back issues which sidelined him for about 8 weeks last year, 2 months to end last season. He's gone, and the 49ers, they had a bottom barrel special teams unit last year. It's not surprising that, they replaced the coordinator, Brian Schneider, with Brant Boyer, but they're also letting Boyer bring in a lot of his own guys. Chaz Surratt is the new linebacker that the 49ers added, and Brant Boyer worked with him in New York and obviously saw good results. Surratt had 10 special teams tackles to lead the team last year, but Robert Saleh, he has a lot of leeway too. Crossing Lombardi Street here, you could see down the crooked street, and you could see far into the distance. The car went nice and slow because of these tourists on the crosswalk, so we could see down to Washington Square, North Beach. We even had a quick glimpse of the Bay Bridge. But Surratt, wouldn't surprise me if he competed for a starting linebacker job, especially early in this season. We know that Robert Saleh loves him. I talked yesterday about the crazy background as a quarterback at University of North Carolina. He was a starting quarterback for the Tar Heels. QBs typically see the big picture, and Robert Saleh is a defensive coordinator who comes at this from a linebackers coach's background, and he wants guys who see the big picture. There's a reason why he loved Fred Warner, and Warner developed into the player that he became under Robert Saleh, and I think that there's a reason why Saleh really liked Surratt with New York Jets, and I think he's going to like him with the 49ers. Of course, do they want Nick Martin to be the future, to be the next Dre Greenlaw? And a lot of the measurables that Nick Martin, the 3rd-round pick out of Oklahoma State, does bring to the table are reminiscent of the measurables that Greenlaw brought, although he is about 10 to 11 pounds lighter. But you have to think of this in terms of depth, and you have to think of this in terms of veterans shepherding younger guys along. And for that reason, I think OTAs are most exciting from the Mykel Williams, Nick Bosa perspective. We've talked about this a little bit before, but now I want to delve deeply into it. Mykel talked to Kay Adams at the Panini Rookie Showcase event that they hold down in LA, and he said that Bosa's already been tutoring him on angles, on hand usage, and all the nuances of pass rushing. And if you remember, in past years, the 49ers haven't had perfect attendance at OTAs. This year, it's damn near close to perfect attendance for the 49ers at OTAs. That means that guys like Mykel Williams will be able to get that hands-on instruction from Nick Bosa and company. Fred Warner can teach Nick Martin. Fred Warner can work with Chaz Surratt as well for the 49ers. So it's one of those situations where the 49ers have a perfect opportunity here to maximize the next few practices, not just with coaching player instruction, but with player-to-player instruction, because they do have their A-list core secured. And no coincidence that was a big focus for San Francisco over the course of the past month leading up into these OTAs. They wanted to have Brock Purdy's contract done. He's a leader for obvious reasons. He's the quarterback. But they wanted to have George Kittle's contract done. He can work with all offensive weapons, and also he could work with all players in the locker room. I mean, George Kittle just sets a great example for how to carry yourself and mentality and fire. I mean, he's able to balance that playfulness with that seriousness on the field, right? And they wanted to have Fred Warner's contract done. And Warner, I mean, great example of somebody who can have an impact on multiple different position groups. When the 49ers finished his contract, John Lynch said, you know, you were a DB, you were nickel at BYU, and we bet on you to become this great linebacker, and we were right. It's one of the best decisions that we've ever made. And you talk about adaptability of offenses. We talk about it with Kyle Shanahan all the time. We'll talk about the adaptability of defenses to counter that, and Fred Warner has been leading that charge. I mean, I'm always going to bring up the CeeDee Lamb blanketing that we saw from Fred Warner back in that NFC divisional playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys a couple years ago. The fact that you've got a linebacker at that size who can cover with his effectiveness, number one wide receivers, it means that you have an absolute alien. That's what Fred Warner is. And that means that he can work with guys at several different positions, not just guys that are literally at his position. So Nick Martin obviously has a lot to learn from Fred Warner, and the 49ers are going to hope that these OTAs really emphasize that. But somebody like Upton Stout, a nickelback, is going to be in on that fray. I mean, they moved him to nickel at Western Kentucky because they knew that this is going to be a player who, to succeed at the NFL, was going to have to take advantage of that chip on his shoulder. He was smaller in stature, 5'8", but they knew that he was wide, that he was really strong, put up 21 bench press reps. He's going to have to fight in closed quarters. Well, Fred Warner can give him a lot of good tutelage as far as how to play that linebacker position. So nickelback position when it relates to the linebackers, because the nickel is a hybrid, I would say, between the linebacker and an outside cornerback. So a lot of that is what we watch here at OTAs. How are the older players impacting the younger players? Because that's what the 49ers formula is set up to look like. They have made sure that they've paid these A-list guys. The past month has seen 3 of these contracts get done. The past 20 months have seen 9 of these contracts get done, totaling nearly $1 billion. The 49ers have done this because those are the foundational pillars of the house. We've got a lot of big, beautiful buildings as we head up Pack Heights here in San Francisco. You know, all these buildings have foundations, right? And the foundational pillars for the 49ers are the A-list players, and then, you know, the window dressing and everything else that's really important to make the fancy house as nice as it is. That comes in the form of cost-controlled youth, and the 49ers have a lot of that with 18 rookies set to take the field here at these OTAs, and a lot of bargain bin veterans. And that doesn't mean that they won't be effective players. It just means that the 49ers were able to find bargain prices on these guys as they've striven to make their team outside of special teams younger, hungrier, and more effective. Climbing up to one of the parks here in Pacific Heights. This is a beautiful drive. We're taking a different route today because we're going to a different destination, but figured on the first day of OTAs, we'd be able to give you guys a hell of an alarm update to really show that everything that the 49ers have done over the course of the past several months has led to this moment. They wanted to have the roster in place and the competition in place for a good start to phase 3 of the offseason program. So, I mean, you've got 2/3 of your kicking battery formally replaced. You've got holder, snapper, and kicker, right? The snapper comes first. The snapper's been replaced. That's John Weeks instead of Tabor Pepper. You've got your holder. He's been replaced. That is no longer going to be the punter, Mitch Wishnowsky, but it's now moved to Thomas Morstead. And you wonder if kicker is going to be replaced. Well, we know that the competition is going to begin in earnest at these practices. We're going to get to see Greg Joseph take on Jake Moody. And then on defense, 49ers have a lot of starting positions to replace. These young players, the young defensive linemen, are going to have a chance to get their feet wet. I know that pads will not be on yet at OTAs, so people should not overreact to anything that happens on this practice field. The main gist of this is what I've been focusing on the whole video. The main gist of this is practice within the context of the playbook on both sides of the football, with the new coaching staff like Robert Saleh and Brant Boyer on the field, and with perfect attendance with the big name veterans on the field, because those big name veterans are the guys that can truly give the youngsters the tutelage that they might need. Here's our fellow Waymo car with, there's somebody in the back seat, but there is nobody in that driver's seat. He's about to pull out. We're going to race this guy. Like down Pine Street. This might be the NFC West battle. We are the 49ers in this car, and that's the Rams. They're ahead of us right now, but they're about to run into a roadblock, and we're just going to blow right on by them. See, that's how the NFC West is going to go this year. Crossing Webster Street, making our way. I think we're on Pine Street right now, heading down into Lower Pacific Heights in San Francisco. I think the Rams are doing their mini camp this year in Hawaii. 49ers, no such exciting plans. In fact, it's in line for the 49ers to have a very drama-free mini camp this year, because if there's perfect attendance already at OTAs, well, by extension, that means that you're not going to be sitting and waiting with bated breath to see if Trent Williams or Christian McCaffrey or Brock Purdy or Brandon Ayuk or one of those players shows up for mini camp, which is mandatory veteran mini camp. Got a nice church here. There's some scaffolding on the church, but still beautiful with that American flag flying. Coming a few days after Memorial Day, but that's St. Dominic's. It's a Catholic church here in Pacific Heights, and no more scaffolding on the front side, so we could see St. Dominic's there. The sunshine is actually right behind the tower. Really well done. If you have any questions or comments about OTAs, go ahead and drop them into the chat section. The drill is going to be the same here for us. We're going to have the instant reaction. You can check in right after the 49ers get off the practice field for the instant reaction. Hopefully we've brought everything together for you over the course of this busy offseason. I know that emotionally for fans there have been ups and downs, but I think I've just tried to dispassionately illustrate the 49ers and analyze the 49ers strategy throughout this entire thing. And the strategy to me has been very congruent. They've gotten younger, they've gotten hungrier, they hope that they've gotten healthier, and most importantly, they hope that they've gotten better. Defense and special teams especially were really bad last year, and it was a byproduct of a lot of things. It was a tired team that also dealt with a lot of offseason drama. So one of the ways that you try to take a step forward in the subsequent season is to minimize the drama. So far, the 49ers have done that. Now they're ready to take the practice field for their first 11-on-11 practice flurry of the 2025 season, with about $45 to $46 million of effective salary cap space. So financially, they're in really good position too. Second most space in the league. They have managed this all very well over the course of this offseason. All right, there's your 49ers alarm update. Hit that sub button, hit the like button. We will talk to you very soon.